Good morning, or afternoon, or night. I'm not really sure, but I'm glad that you're here. And it's morning for me, so forgive me as I have not had my coffee yet. But I woke up this morning and I saw patch notes the day after I posted a video, and there was actually some relevant things relative to that video that I made. So I wanted to talk about them. I'm not going to be talking about all of these patch notes. I will link them in the description if you would like, and you can go and view over them yourself as well. But there are a few things I wanted to go and call out here. So the first being, while not PvP based, I did want to bring this up because I am personally coming into a New Game Plus build, or New Game Plus on my 150, and I am very excited that these will be staying with me as I go into New Game Plus. I have another character, my first character, that I did New Game Plus, and I stocked up on basically all of this stuff before the bell bearing went out, because I read on the wiki that they do not stay in New Game Plus, so I am glad that they will be going forward. I'm going to skip over the Sacred Flask thing, and I am going to mention this. So added sound effects when other players' summon signs appear. I think this is going to be interesting because say that you're at Main Academy Gate and you have exhausted all of the duelist summon signs thus far, in the sense that you've gone to each one of them. They all say unable to summon adversary. It'll be nice to have an auditory cue when new ones pop up. Instead of having to go and find that faintly glowing red dot, as new ones are popping up. Because if you don't get it in that dot, then, good luck. It feels like that sometimes, especially on weekends. So, that will go and have an auditory cue with it, which is nice. And then, so there's also this fixed a bug where equipment could be changed from the equipment menu during the use of a skill under certain circumstances. Now, I don't know what this is referring to specifically. I don't know if it's something like I think it's the Ancestral Infant Head. I might be wrong, but the thing that kind of spits out like blue mist, and then there's that bell that spits out the golden orb things. So I don't know if it's something like you can be using that and then switch it, or if it's like a consumable where, maybe you pop like a boiled prawn, but, then you switch over to exalted flesh, and then all of a sudden you have both benefits. I don't know. But yeah, so that's an interesting change. So it fixed a bug in the Warcry skill where the effect was applied to a weapon that was not the target of the skill. So if you were using the Warcry, Ash of War, and applying that to a weapon that wasn't the weapon that had Warcry on it, you can now no longer do that. I don't know if that was a huge issue or not, but I guess it was a bug and it's fixed. So it fixed a bug where some actions of the Barbaric War, Warcry, and Troll's Roar recovery time was longer than expected. So now if you're using that, then your recovery time is not as long if you experience that bug. Great. So it fixed a bug where the effects of the Determination and Royal Knight's Resolve skill does not always wear off with certain weapons. So I'm the way that that's phrased, I'm assuming that what that means is that it is supposed to wear off when you have a certain weapon on, but it wasn't, and as a result, it now does. Makes sense if it does for other weapons. I feel like it's supposed to wear off. Fixed a bug in which some attacks of the Ice Spear skill are unguardable. So this is a big one. This was apparently a bug where the Ice Spear was getting through people's shields, especially if they were using something like a fingerprint shield or, God forbid, a double fingerprint shield. So apparently those were supposed to be guardable, and now they are not. I do think that it's interesting that it says some attacks. I don't know if that means that some attacks of them were unguardable, whereas others were guardable, and now the ones that were not are now guardable, if that makes any sense. I jump around a lot. But either way, this is it's kind of one less tool in the tool belt when you're fighting, the great turtle of the Church of Vows. I'm joking, of course, but it is one less tool for dealing with, those heavy shield builds and whatnot. Fixed a bug that caused the attack power of some skills to be reduced when using the Golden Vow skill. This shouldn't have been a bug at all. The Golden Vow is supposed to raise your damage, not lower it. So this is good, just across the board. And then also fixed a bug that the light wave of the Moonlight Greatsword skill sometimes does not aim at the locked on target. Now, I like this because I have been both a victim of it in the sense that I was using the Dark Moon Greatsword and my frost blade thing just went, wherever. And then I have also been rescued by this in the sense that I was dueling someone with the Dark Moon Greatsword, and they used that frost arc on me and the light wave, and it just went to fuck all. Like, it didn't go anywhere close to me, and like they were standing pretty much in front of me. It was kind of wild. I also saw some of the carrion swords that float around your head. I forgot what they call it, phalanx or something like that. I don't know, fucking know. But either way, I saw one of those. Some of those do that, where I was nowhere near the sorcerer. They weren't near me, and the swords just some of them, not even all of them, just decided to just fling in every random direction. So I wonder if that's going to be fixed too, or if it's related. But either way, I am glad that this got fixed, because at the very least, it makes this more reliable. If you are fighting someone with the Dark Moon Greatsword, then you know that if they're, locked onto you, which probably are, that, their attacks can, hit you now. And then, you don't have to, be everywhere. And then vice versa, if you use this, you have a more reliable, range to that. Now, I'm going to kind of go over both of these hand in hand, because I think that for the most part, they're kind of related, considering the same skill. But the first is fixed a bug that caused damage to allies when using seppuku skill under certain circumstances. So I think this will be interesting for mainly like PvE, maybe some invasions where you're with someone, like a Sunbro, and they were taking the 10% damage as well when you use the skill. So now that has now been fixed. And then also fixed a bug that caused the increase in attack power of seppuku skill to be higher than expected for some attack motions. Now, I don't know what attack motions caused this bug that the attack power increased, but I both see this in duels quite often, but also have used this. My current build is a sleep build, so I don't use it anymore. But I have used this before in duels, so I am curious if that will be as prevalent as it is right now, given the kind of bug fix. I don't want to say nerf, because if that wasn't, like for all attack motions, like if this was a flat damage reduction of attack power reduction of the skill, I would say that's a nerf. But I think that this is more of a bug fix. I've heard this called a nerf, and I don't really align with that, because it's not for all attack motions. It's just for some attack motions. So I'm not really going to say it's a nerf. I'm going to say it's a bug fix. Fixed a bug in which a status effect was applied when using Horalu's Earthshaker skill. I don't know what status effect was applied here, so I don't know if this is a positive or a negative, but if it was a positive status effect, then that is a bummer. If it was a negative status effect, then that is a blessing. Yay. I don't really know how to feel about it, because I don't really know the context there. But fixed a bug where the Wave of Darkness skill would not hit the enemy with a spinning cleave. I think that spinning cleave looks badass. I haven't really used this Ash of War really, but the spinning cleave is badass. So that's nice at least. I think the spinning cleave comes out in the third attack, the third like wave of it. But I actually have a clip of this in the video that I posted yesterday, of me pretty much booty ass naked except for a crimson hood, with someone else that had just like bright red skin, and they had used this, and as soon as they did, one, obviously I took my armor off, so I have no poise, and they poised me, stunned me in it, but then staggered rather. But then also they took like 90% of my health. So that's a fun clip, and I might include it in this video. But if I can find it. That being said, I think this is interesting. That this wasn't working before and now is. I didn't realize that. Again, I haven't really used it that much, so that would be interesting if you have done that. And then realize your spinning cleave doesn't hit at all. Now, this is probably the biggest change of this patch. And personally, I don't play a sorcerer build, so I don't know how I feel about this. I do know how I feel about it. I'm actually kind of bummed out, even though I don't play a sorcerer, because I feel like that takes away some of the. Again, it's kind of like the same thing up here with Ice Spear. It kind of takes away a tool in your tool belt, to be able to swap over to a spell and basically fast cast it, by casting like Bestial Sling or Glintstone Pebble or Night Shard or whatever prior to the real spell that you want to get out fast, like a Dragon Breath or something like that. So I don't know how I feel about it too much, because again, I don't play a sorcerer. I think the next week's video, I'm going to be doing a video on my sleep build, and then the following week to give myself a little bit more testing with the build, especially after this patch. How the sorcerer plays and feels in the context of dueling. So I'm going to ignore a couple of these. So it fixed a bug where the Claw Talisman effect was not applied when jumping with the Star Scourge Great Sword in both hands. So now, if you run Star Scourge, then you can use the Claw Talisman, and if you are two-handing it, then as in the sense that you got one in each hand, then your Claw Talisman effect will apply, which is great. Fixed a bug where the power of the two-handed attacks, except for the jump attack, of the weapon Golem's Halberd is different than expected. Now, I don't know if the power of the two-handed attacks were higher or lower here. If they were higher, then if this is the main weapon that you use, that is a bummer. If they're lower, then if you use this weapon or thought about using that weapon but didn't think it was viable in actual testing, then you may be surprised that got increased. I don't know if it's gone up or down, but either way, it is a change. So anyway, fixed a bug that when using the pulley crossbow with the left hand, while the right hand weapon was given an attribute by magic or item, the effect was given to the pulley crossbow as well. Actually, in one of the first invasions that I did on my 150 character, I was doing it for the White Mask Vare quest to get to Moog's Palace. The very first invasion, somebody pulled the pulley crossbow on me, and I died. I don't know if they were using the exploit or if they were able to use the black. I think it's the black bolts or something like that give death build up. I don't really know. I haven't played a bow build, although I did fight one once in a duel, so I might actually be doing that just for shits and giggles to see if it works. But yeah, so that had killed me, and it killed me with the death blight. So again, I don't know if they were using the special arrows or if they were using this bug. But that is interesting to see that has been fixed. Okay, so fixed a bug in which guard boost was reduced when some weapons were strengthened to the maximum. Now, if you do run a shield in your PvP build, most of the time, your weapon is probably going to be strengthened to the maximum. If that is a solid build for you, you're not testing it out. This is something that you're dedicated yourself to. Or maybe you've done new game. You're on New Game Plus 3. and you have a lot of the somber ancient dragon smithing stones and stuff like that. So unless you have a lot of weapons to maximum, chances are if you're running a guard build, then the weapon that you're using, probably Godskin Stitcher or Knight Rider Glaive or something like that. The usual. I think it's Vike's War Spear. Then your weapon's probably at a max, and your guard boost is now no longer being reduced. Now this is with some weapons, so I don't know what weapons qualified there, but I would say that is a good thing for people that run that build. All right, I'm gonna skip a couple of these. The Melania one is kind of a bummer if you're having a hard time with her, but it's also kind of I'm gonna see it as an overall plus. I know it doesn't have anything to do with PvP, but I'm going to see this as an overall plus, just because Melania is one of the best boss fights, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun with that. So to go and see like the second phase at 10% health or something like that, it is a bummer if you like the challenge. Oh, okay. So this has happened to me. So this is gonna be more for invasions, but fixed a bug in online multiplayer where when a boss is defeated. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, not this one. I beg your pardon. This is basically if you help someone out in their world, as a co-op player, the boss in your world sometimes wouldn't appear, and that has been fixed. Okay, I will mention this one. I know it's not immediately PvP based, but so hear me out. So this had happened to me. Alexander basically got stuck at Radahn's arena, like desert wasteland. He was just shoving bodies in his little jar butthole, until he got full. But he got bugged out there, and no matter what I did, even though I've already done the quest on a different character, and have the Shard of Alexander talisman, like I know how to do the quest. I've done the quest before. On my 150, it was not working, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get him to leave Radahn's place. So his like desert arena place, after I defeated him. So it ended up with me going and killing Alexander before he got to Farum Azula. And if you do that, then you go and get the plus 10% damage to weapon skills, instead of the Shard of Alexander's plus 15%. So because this was bugged and I couldn't progress his quest, I basically sacrificed that extra 5% damage on my weapon arts for this game. Now, with this fix up here, or not fix, but addition up here with the New Game Plus bell bearings, that's not as bad going into New Game Plus, because I'm able to go and still buy things and upgrade things and whatnot as I get them, which I think is nice. But the fact that I have to do New Game Plus just to get the extra plus 5% from this shard of Alexander, that's kind of a bummer. So I'm glad that this is fixed for other players going forward. Oh, okay. So fixed a bug that allowed hostile guests to enter boss areas under certain circumstances. I'm definitely going to talk about this because this was interesting. So I had actually gotten invaded in a Renala boss fight. So me and a buddy, we went in. We did phase 1. We only had to pop her bubble once and brought her down, and then literally just decimated her health. So she was done. But when we got into phase 2, I immediately skipped the cutscene. I had seen it before, so I immediately kind of phase into that second room on the lake thing with the moon in the background, and there was an invader running around, his red summoning kind of light hole, I guess, wasn't there. He was already moving. So it kind of dawned on me that before I went into the boss fog, the fog wall, he had invaded me, because I didn't see the invader kind of card at the bottom that said you're being invaded by Bloody Finger or recusant, whatever. I guess I missed that, just before going into the fog wall, but or it had invaded and I didn't get that card, but he came into the phase 2 area, so I'm just kind of curious, like, was he waiting there for us to do phase 1, like, just no Renala, no other tarnished or anything. It was just Lake Moon, and he's just running around because he was just going in circles. And then he had decimated my buddy, and then it was basically just me versus Renala summons versus the fucking invader, and it was interesting. I don't think that I actually won that one. I'm pretty sure that I died. Anyway, I'm glad to see that can no longer happen. That you can't have boss invasions anymore. Because I did actually experience that, and that was not fun. So this one I want to bring up because I had actually just mentioned this in my video yesterday. So in my video yesterday, I said that it may, in the context of positioning yourself in a duel, it may not be the best idea to go and use R1s if you're behind your target in an effort to not get like half a backstab where you go and get the grab attack on the other like duelist or other player, but you don't actually finish the critical like backstab. So I like, after reading this, I'm curious if that means that like those half grabs but no damage doing criticals were actually always supposed to be criticals, but there was a bug going on. So I'm gonna kind of play around with this a little bit. I might go and do like a misery chord, as an offhand or something to see if I can get this to work. But yeah, I don't know if those half grabs were always supposed to be criticals or not. So I'm gonna be testing this out and see how that goes, and I'll probably mention that in my next video, even though my next video will be covering a sleep build. That being said, the next one is, if you are using the Sentry Torch in PvP, it is now no longer going to slow down your game. But more importantly, improved stability for online multiplayer between PS4 and PS5. That is always a good thing. Improved stability is great. Improved load times for Xbox Series X and S. I'm mentioning this because if you're dueling, you are constantly being summoned in, and then either dying or going in and summoning and being summoned in again. So the fact that load times have improved for that console is also a good thing. And then always a good thing is just general improvement in stability of online multiplayer. Now I am curious if this is referring to latency. If you were, hitting someone and then, 5-10 seconds later they register the hits and then they start taking damage. I have a clip in the first video that I did. So out of 2, this being 3, that I had died, and I knew that I hit the other guy, but after I died, then they started reacting to my hits and then they died. So I wonder if this is going to affect latency, or if this is going to affect the just kind of sudden dropouts that I've been seeing. And again, in my last video, I have a couple of clips where I was dueling people and they weren't lagging. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of lag or jumping around. Their attacks were hitting when and where they were supposed to hit. So were mine. It looked good. And then all of a sudden it just said like connection error, host disconnected, or connection error, adversary disconnected, returning to world, or something like that. So it was interesting to go and see that that happen out of the blue with like no lag actually happening in the fight. So I'm curious if this is going to improve both, or if it's going to improve one or the other, or matchmaking. I don't know. But either way, improved stability is just all around a good thing for me, so I appreciate that. Okay, so this is going to be the last one that I mentioned for PvP. Is fixed a bug in some maps that allowed players to reach unexpected locations with certain procedures. Now, I've heard this as a basically like a remedy or potential remedy, or I guess interpreted as a remedy for AFK farmers and invasions. And it very well may be, and I just may be dumb, but I don't think that this is. I think that this is going to be a little bit more akin to something like the bug that they had, not even the bug, but like the exploit that they had like put additional rocks on the wall for in Moog's Palace, where you were basically able to scale up the wall on the rocks, and then in a certain area where like the shadow was, like you were halfway in between the shadow and the light, and then you just jumped off this cliff into the abyss as you were swinging your sword, so you didn't get the death animation. And after like 30-45 seconds, everything in the zone would die, and you would get all of the runes, and then you could quit and reload, I'm sorry, go and fast travel back to the other side of grace and do it again. So I think that this is going to be something a little bit more akin to that, where it's something like out of bounds exploits or holes in the map, or just places that they didn't, unexpected locations with certain, procedures of, how to go and get there. I don't think that this is going to be something where it's like, oh, you're now no longer allowed to use a, Taunter's Tongue, when you go and get on a rooftop in Liurnia, or if you go and get on, a certain like, vague route in Caelid or something like that. So I don't think that this is going to be a remedy for AFK farming. I think that this is something that's going to be more akin to the Moog Palace fix, or something, in that same vein of like map fixes, or something where you're not able to get out of bounds. I hope that this is something that fixes or helps at least start to remedy the issue that is AFK farming and invasions, because in Liurnia, I mean, it's maybe every 7 or 8 invasions I see something like this. So it's not every invasion, which is nice, but it's also greater than 10%, which is not nice. So anything to fix that, or at least mitigate it, reduce it, would be nice. And the last thing that I'll mention, besides just regular, performance improvements, which is always a good thing, is added return to desktop to the system item on the main menu for exiting the game for PC. I will say that I just tested this. I have used this once, and it kind of opened up so it did quit me to desktop, but it also opened up like a quarter scale size window in the corner of my screen, and it flashed like the Bandai Namco logo, and then the From Software logo, but it didn't quite make it to the Elden Ring logo with like the information box. Instead it just black screened after From Software, but Steam said that it was still running the game, and then like on Windows, the like sidebar, that was still showing a game icon. So I ended up hitting stop in Steam, and after a few seconds it was like, okay, I guess I'll stop. So my one experience with that was that it didn't actually quit me to desktop, and it looked like it was starting to go through the same process, but in like a quarter size screen. I don't know, it was a little weird. But anyway, I think that overall this patch is, it's just that. It's a sigh. It's lackluster. I think that the biggest changes here, besides the New Game Plus bell bearings, carrying over, is going to be Ice Spear here, and the sorceries. I think that these are going to be the biggest players in this patch in terms of PvP. Golden Vow, if you had one of those skills that was reducing its damage and you were like, this is bullshit, and then you didn't use that skill, well, maybe now you can. But yeah, for the most part, this build didn't have a lot to it. Or not this build, this patch update didn't have a lot to it. It didn't, go in and have a lot of PvP content and, to it at all. PvP changes, rather, at all. So I think that is going to be interesting. I don't think that the meta, has really shifted too much. Not to say that it was super constraining anyway. There's still a lot of freedom in the meta, even though there's large groups of players gravitating towards certain like weapons, weapon art, and spells, and whatnot, like Stars of Ruin or Rivers of Blood, and things like that. I think that there's still plenty of variety in the meta with that you can still have quite a bit of fun with. So either way, I don't really feel like that bad about the patch. Like, there's nothing really in the patch. Granted, I'm not a sorcerer, so I'm not, I don't have, that as a huge negative for me, because that's just not something that I was relying on. Or relying on is not the right word. Used to, I suppose, is probably a better word. It wasn't, part of my rotation. It wasn't part of my routine. So I would say if it was, this patch is definitely not going to look very good for you, because now a huge cast time bonus basically has been stripped away and called a bug, which I think is interesting. I thought it was a very interesting tool that you like certain spells you could go and cast a couple of times, and then if you were able to switch over quick enough and then cast that next spell, it just came out instantly. And that was a huge surprise, which I enjoyed. Actually, I had someone do that with like the magma breath, and it was actually, it made me almost shit my pants, because I was just like, oh my god, they're all of a sudden lava. It was crazy. So yeah, this patch it's lackluster. It's nothing to write home about. If you're a sorcerer or a faith build, I'm sorry, because that is definitely something that it's been taken away from you, and I feel for you. I really do, especially since those are both build styles that I absolutely want to play. Now I'm kind of curious if going and using something like Radagon's Icon, or I think it's Radagon's Icon, Godfrey Icon maybe. I think that's skills. I'm not sure. Just anything that improves your casting cast time. I think that might be an interesting build style, although I know that it's like virtual decks or something like that, that your cast time is based off of, so you're almost like a Dex int build or Dex faith build. So that'll be interesting if that becomes a little bit more prevalent. But either way, I have been rambling on long enough about these patch notes. Again, I will link these in the description, and if you have anything that you really like or really don't like, let me know, because I am very curious. I would love to go and hear your opinions on this patch, and what maybe you would have liked to see instead, because I'm sure that there are quite a few things that quite a few people were really hoping for in a new patch, and then like none of them happened. But hey, I will take improved multiplayer stability across the board that is what makes this patch worth it to me, if that ends up being noticeably helpful. Again, I don't play a sorcerer build, so I'm not in that position, at least as of yet, but I will probably watch some videos or go and honestly just remember some of my past experiences with sorcerers that did that, and be like, oh man, okay, what I'm playing now, it just doesn't hit the same. So anyway, again, I've been rambling long enough. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I don't deserve it. Honestly, I just woke up, I saw that there was a patch, I read it, and I was like, I'm gonna talk about it. So because you spent your time with me, especially if you made it this far, I just really appreciate you. I hope that you have a great... Actually, wait, before I wish you a great rest of your week, I do want to mention that I have been releasing videos, my last two videos. My first video was actually on a Wednesday. It was just got totally out of the blue. But I've been saying that I want to release videos on Sunday. I will actually be releasing videos on Monday, because that gives me a little bit of extra time to review the video on Sunday morning before I go and publish it. And then it also goes and gives me a pretty decent buffer for YouTube's shenanigans, in the sense of uploading the video, having it process HD, and things like that. So just so that I'm not going and basically publishing videos at random times on Sunday, I will be publishing my videos on Monday, unless stated otherwise. And probably scheduling them for probably about 6 or 7 in the morning Central Time. So, 7 or 8 Eastern Time, or whatever time zone. Go off of 7 or 8 New York time, and then change however you'd like. But well, that being said, again, now I hope that you have a great rest of your week. And I hope that I'll see you on my sleep build video on Monday. Alright, take care.